Welcome to the Six Figure Single Mom podcast. My name is Crystal. I'm your host. And on this podcast, we talk about all things lifestyle, career, and single parenting. Today, we have a very special guest with us. This person spoke at our first annual Resilient Parents Brunch, and she was so amazing. She shared her story, and the audience was very, very, very touched. Everybody was moved, and people were hemming her up after the brunch was over. So, without further ado, I'm going to welcome Latoya to the studio. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great, Crystal.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Now, Latoya, right?
You can call me Toya.
Toya. Okay. So Toya is with us. Toya is the mom of 3 girls.
Yeah.
She's also the owner of Studio Mink.
Mm-hmm.
She also has a hairline that's out, the Lush hairline.
Yes.
She's also a hair mentor.
Yes.
And Toya is recently in Walmart stores. And I also seen her promoting being in a beauty supply. So she's also in beauty supplies as well. So welcome to the show, Toya. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing blessed.
Awesome. So I wanted to bring you in, but first, before we get started, because you know how we do,
Okay.
I want to ask you a few questions. So it's going to be kind of like a this or that, so that people get
Okay.
to know you a little
Okay.
bit more. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is early bird or night owl?
Ooh. Early bird or night owl?
Yeah.
Night owl when I'm in hustle mode.
Oh, that's good.
Early bird whenever I've already got everything, when I've got the foundation done.
Yes.
So now I'm kind of just cruising, making sure everything's in order, dotting my I's, crossing my T's.
Okay, I got you. That makes so much sense too. Yeah. Okay. Coffee or tea?
You're showing my duality right now, right? Really? Okay.
We welcome it.
Coffee, hustle mode, tea,
Yes.
whenever I've gotten everything in order.
Okay. So reading a book or watching a movie?
Reading a book.
Ooh,
Reading
I
a
like
book
that.
all day, every day. I'm a bookworm.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get better at that because I do audiobooks. But somebody very successful told me the other day, pick up a book and read.
Oh yeah, I got to feel that paper.
Yeah.
On my hand. I got to feel the physical on my hand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So sweet or savory snacks?
Sweet.
Okay. What's your favorite snack?
Snack. Okay, so if we were talking like snack, are you talking about like corner store snack or like
just any snack?
It would probably have to be fruit.
Fruit. Okay.
If it was
that ain't really a snack though, Toya.
See, that's why I asked you
like what, sweet is like a candy, a cookie.
Oh, well, of course. Anybody that knows me, I'm a cookie lover, chocolate chip cookie lover, right?
Oh, my girl.
So
my girl. You like to treats?
No.
What's your favorite cookie store?
Okay, so right now it's a battle between it's called Tiny's Boxwoods.
Oh.
And a lady from Baytown called Miss Coco Bakes.
Okay.
Which honestly I feel like Miss Coco Bakes, she's a Black entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's her business, Black-owned business. I honestly feel like she got them in the bag, but I need other people to test the cookies out first.
Okay.
Because I don't want to seem like I'm being biased because she's a Black woman.
Okay.
But when I tell you she is bomb.
Really?
Man, them cookies hit different.
Okay, send me the link.
Okay, I got you.
Yes, because I love chocolate chip cookies. That's my favorite cookie. Okay, formal attire or casual wear?
Where we going?
Anywhere.
So I like to show up like a boss.
Okay.
Like the boss that I am.
Okay.
But I also like to be casual because I want to see how you're going to treat me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Action movie or comedy?
These like, how can you just choose? Okay, comedy.
Why?
Laughter's medicine.
It is. Plus, it helps you to combat like some of the real things that are going on in your life. So then when you laugh a little bit, it don't feel as big of a problem, right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So then this is the last one. Online shopping or in-store shopping?
In-store shopping.
Really?
It has to be.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story. In-store shopping has gotten really hard because I feel like a lot of the things that they have out there, I feel like now that they know people shop online, it's not as many options.
Okay.
Like I took my daughter school shopping And my daughter's very tiny now. She's very tiny, double zero, and she's short. And it's like we couldn't hardly find her anything. And it's like I kind of feel like that too. Like when I go shopping, I feel like maybe they think people shopping online, so it's not as many options or something. I don't know.
I mean, that might be possible. I'm not really into fashion like that. Just as long as the clothes fit and it looks pretty decent, I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But due to my measurements, I
Yeah,
have to try on things. If not, then I'm going to be wasting money because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a return it back to Amazon or return it back to Fashion Nova kind of person.
I know.
I'm more so going to give it away or it's just going to be collecting dust.
I got you. So what's your favorite stores in Houston?
Okay, so
give us the tea. We want the tea too.
Well, for jeans, I like places like Trend Mall and like Justin's because it's curvy. If it's the curvy girls, it fits my waistline without me having to pay extra money for it to get altered. I like American Eagle jeans. You know, my biggest thing is like bottom wear because I'm bottom heavy or whatever. But besides that, as far as clothes and tops and blouses, girl, I go to H&M, Zara, Target. I mean, Target.
Because put some respect on it.
Right, I know, my bad. And like I said, if it's a nice blouse or top or whatever, I wear it. I'm not biased. I think people have this persona about me that I am like designer type.
Okay.
Far from it.
Okay.
No, as you can see, like I said, simple
things.
Simple things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a Zara girl. So anything Zara, I love Zara. Like if I could live in there, I probably would. I went to Spain over the summer and they have the largest Zara store in Spain.
And I bet they got the better stuff. Because when I went to New York just recently, their Zara was nothing like what we have here in Texas.
Oh my gosh. It was amazing.
I could believe that.
3 stories. It was just everything. I had already overpacked. I had to buy another suitcase.
Oh wow.
I had to pay for an extra suitcase because it was like that lit. I mean, they had some really good stuff in there. And I just feel like the quality was there. Like I bought a lot of dresses. I feel like the quality was different over there. For some reason, I don't see the same stuff that I saw over there that I see here.
I'm almost sure.
Okay. So now that we got you loosened up a little bit and now that the audience knows a little bit more about you, so I met you almost 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, and when I met you, I had heard about you because David recommended me to your bundles. He's like, I was telling him I need some bundles, and he's like, oh yeah, I have this member of my church, and she sells bundles, and he's like, she's amazing. She has very quality hair, so he was going hard. I was like, okay, well, I was like, I think I'll buy some, and then I start following you from there.
Okay.
And I saw that your hairline was very quality hair. I'm just more of a crochet girl, but I promise you, I'm gonna give me some of them bundles because I need to branch out. I need to branch out. So then I ended up having the Resilient Parents Brunch, and just from following you, I like the things that you were doing. I like the things that you stood for. You were a girl mom also, so I like that too. So I reached out to you and said, "What do you think about speaking at the Resilient Parents Brunch?" So what was on your mind when you got that message?
Okay, God, you're stretching me. Right? Because sometimes we don't see what other people see in us.
That's right.
So when I was following you and I went to your page, it was more so an honor. Like I was like, wow, Crystal speaks so well. She's so organized with her business. And the fact that she wants me to speak on her platform and that it's her very first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, wow. Okay. I was like, okay, God, like you wouldn't put me here if I wasn't ready to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but I'm not gonna make it seem like I was just super confident. Like nerves definitely still hit because I was like, yeah, she wants me to speak. What am I gonna say? How am I gonna say this to where it's gonna complement what she has going on and to where it's gonna inspire or move the room,
Yeah.
So definitely, I was excited. I was honored, but also nervous.
Yeah. Well, we couldn't tell that you was nervous because, like I said, when you got up there and you shared your story, you touched so many ladies in the room. And that's the one reason why I reached out to you, was because the authenticity was there.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that you didn't try to dress it up. You don't try to button it up. You just be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's something that I look for. I don't want people around me, or I don't ever want to present someone to speak to people that are coming in under something that I'm hosting,
Mm-hmm.
and for everything to be fake.
Right.
Because life is not like that.
Right.
That's not sustainable. And people have to see your test in order to see your testimony, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to start being our real authentic selves.
True.
And that's what attracted me to reach out to you, to ask you to be a speaker. So tell us a little bit about you. Growing up, what type of child were you? Were you athletic? Did you play sports, or were you quiet and to yourself?
Oh, no, absolutely not. So believe it or not, I played football.
Really?
In 8th grade, yes. I did cheerleading, I did volleyball, I did track, I did basketball. My 8th grade year, we were the only ones that brought our school to district champs.
Wow.
9th grade year, I was sought out by the 2 high schools that's in my small town. So it was like both high schools, varsity was looking at, JV and varsity was looking at me like, okay, if you come here, this is what we can offer you.
Mm-hmm.
So believe it or not, like in smaller towns, when you're good, the high schools are looking at you for you to come to their school. And I didn't have anybody to nurture that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just more so going, okay, well, where the boys at, and where is it most lenient at to where I can go? So I was very athletic growing up, and I was very entrepreneurial growing up. And I didn't know that what I had in me was an entrepreneurial spirit, because it was more so survival. But God works all things out, right?
That's
for your good, right? And so all things come into play, and you don't even realize how it's already been brewing from like the beginning.
Yes.
So when you asked me about it being a child, my mom had 5 children, but she was a workaholic. So my mom worked all the time. We barely saw our mom, and I was being raised by my brother and my sister was 6 and 8 years older than me, and then I had 2 following siblings underneath me. My 2 sisters were 6 and 8 years younger than me.
Okay.
So I'm dead squat middle. And everybody was paired with their own, except for me. The first one was a first marriage. The second set was another marriage. And then it was just me, a guy she met for a short amount of time and had a baby, right? So they look alike at the top. They look alike at the bottom. And then it's just, and then it's just me. But I guess because I didn't have any distractions, I was able to observe more so my surroundings.
Right.
I noticed that my mom would come home after working so long and complaining about certain bills still, right?
Gotcha.
And I was 9 years old when I did what I'm about to tell you. My mom was also a hoarder as well. So she had a lot of things in the garage. So I was like, well, she's complaining about bills, but she's always working. Let me try to help. So what I did was I got remember the stickers on garage sales where it would be like neon colored stickers, the green, the yellow,
the green mean $1, the orange mean $3.
That. So she had those in the garage, and I noticed that there were things in the garage that had dust on it. So me being 9 years old, I was like, well, if it got dust on it, she ain't paying attention to it, and she don't really care too much about it, and she not gonna miss it.
Yeah.
So what I did was I held a garage sale in front of our house at 9 years old. And I just put stickers on everything. Did I understand the value of money? No. Something that was probably worth $10, $20 was gone for $1.50. I kid you not. So I held a garage in front of the house, and we were in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood.
Okay. Ooh.
So we was flooded.
The
front of our house was flooded. You hear me? And my brother came from playing basketball on the bike. He had a 10-speed. I'll never forget it. He pulls up. All I hear skirt. And he's like, what's going on? This and that third. And I'm like, I'm just selling some stuff. Yeah. He was like, do mama know? Because normally if we were to do something, she would have told him to set it out because he's the only boy.
Sure.
Right? But so I was like, no, I'm just doing this because she need help on the gas bill and stuff. Like, she just need help. He's like, oh, just wait till she get home. You in trouble. You in trouble. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm thinking I'm doing something good, but I'm about to get my butt whooped. Because, my mama would whoop butt, girl. It wasn't no easy discipline. She was a Caribbean woman. So whooping your butt means, baby, you probably ain't going to be walking right for a couple days. So I was just like, oh no. So she came home. And she was like, what is this? I see all this stuff in the front yard. What's going on? And she's going off, right? And so I was like, I got some money. I got some money.
Give me my money.
And so she was like, where you get this money from? I said, I saw some things in the garage that I noticed that you wasn't, looking at and stuff. So I was like, here go the money. I said, I wanted to help you with the gas bill, this, that, and the third.
Oh.
Kid you not. I can't remember how much it was in there, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, whatever it was, it covered a bill that she needed.
Wow.
Right? And so she said, oh my goodness, you got this from the garage sale? And I said, yes. She said, okay, well, let me show you what else you could sell.
Wow.
So then the next day, I'm back out there in the front yard doing a garage sale.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you've always had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Naturally, I guess so. Naturally, I believe it was just a problem solver.
Yes.
And then the entrepreneur came as, like, I guess how people would label me. But I think more so it's like, I want to help solve this problem. You know, we got to eat, we got to survive, so that's where they came into.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so great. And I think about, like, for me, I'm a single mom, right? So I'm always looking for ways to capitalize on certain things, especially like garage sales, finding another hustle. Like you said, your mom had to work all the time, but she was just doing what she had to do for her children. So the fact that you thought, this is a problem and I want to solve it. And this is helping the whole household. And your mom was probably so proud, like, wow, my daughter is actually thinking outside of the box to help contribute to the household.
Yeah.
That's a proud mama right there. I mean, just think about us with our kids. Like, if our kids were to do something like that, that's a proud moment for me.
Yeah.
That's a proud moment. I'm sure you got a little favor out of that too.
Well, I don't know if you would call it favor. It was just more so, she didn't see me as, like, my age.
Yeah.
I don't think I was no longer a kid to her. I think I was an extra hand.
Yeah.
So now I'm watching my siblings now.
Yeah.
Now I'm cooking for my siblings now. Versus everybody else, they got to be their age and do what they wanted to do as as a child. Not me. But I also don't see it as a burden. I was able to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see it as like, oh, I want to go outside with my friends today. Like, no, if they come on door, I'm like, no, I'm watching my little sisters today. Like,
oh, that's sweet.
And so it was just like, that was just my life at that time,
That's sweet. And I think that as children, that's one thing that, sometimes I wish the kids nowadays would step up a little bit more. Like, I'm always telling my daughter, if you see me doing something, help me out. Yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
If you see the sink full of dishes, wash them for me.
Right.
Like, yeah, I can do it because I'm very particular. And I will admit that. But I'm like, just do things to help out I shouldn't have to tell you everything.
Right.
Some things, like you said, you should just sit back and be observant to know that mama needs help.
Right.
Because mama's trying to do everything. And so you should just extend and lend a hand whenever you know that it's a 2-man team, or whenever you know that it's a so many man team. If you can help out, you should.
Yeah.
And I wish our kids nowadays would kind of see that a little bit more, because I think sometimes they're so entitled and they don't think they need to help out. They be like, well, mama got it. She looked like she doing this and doing that, but it's like, no, that was.
But they're distracted. Sweet. They have the phones. They have remember what I told you? Like, we didn't have those things growing up. So, and I didn't have a sibling to play with, so I wasn't distracted. I was able to look around my atmosphere and see what's happening.
Yeah.
So for our kids, this new generation, like, their phones is glued to their hands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And their desire for things is not even because they truly desire from within. It's from their flesh. They're seeing what this other person has, so they think that that's what they want until they get it and they realize they don't even want it, and then now it's like to the next thing.
Right. Yeah, I have conversations with my daughter because I passed down my Corolla to her. And sometimes it ticks me off when she's like, it's just the Corolla. I'm like, what do you mean it's just the Corolla?
Girl.
I'm like, the Corolla is still rolling fine. The Corolla is still doing well. The Corolla still blow cold AC and hot heat in the wintertime. She's like, but the people at my school, they drive these kind of cars and they drive it. And I'm like, Chandler, don't feel entitled enough to where you feel like a car is a car. Like, I didn't have like this souped out car when I was in high school. I had a car that my parents paid $1,000 for. Now that I'm grown, I know they paid $1,000 for it. I didn't care what it was. I just wasn't on the bus.
Right.
And it wasn't a fancy car. It was an older car like hers. But I'm like, sometimes their generation, like you said, it's because of what they see.
Yep.
You see other kids driving all these cars or whatnot to school, so you think you're deserving of that too. No, baby, you need to work for the things that you want.
Right.
Because I can't give you everything.
Right.
I can give you some things, but I'm not going to give you everything, even if I have it.
Right.
Sometimes I'm not going to give it to you.
Right.
Because I don't want you to feel entitled. So, okay, so in middle school, you hosting garage sales, full out garage sales.
That was elementary.
Elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
full out garage sales. So what was high school like for you?
So high school wasn't what high school was for many of you guys. Okay, so high school for me, I'm pregnant.
Okay.
By the time I graduated, I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
And I'm pregnant with my 3rd child.
Okay.
I went through foster care. I went through living on my own by the time I was like 15, 16, living on my own. And believe it or not, like I got into, because I was having children, and you got to understand, like you have to be a certain age to work.
Right.
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 But you're also now an adult to sign for things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was the conflict that I was having. Right. I was 15, 16 with children, but yet I'm not old enough to work at certain places.
Sure.
So it brought me into having to use what people would say my entrepreneurial skills into hustling.
Sure.
So I had to start selling illegal things just to feed my children. And I felt like I was a little pressured to do that, honestly. Now, granted, yes, I had other options, right? I could have had other options to do, but it was just more so the adults that were around me they wasn't saying, well, go to school, finish school. They were kind of more so saying, like, these are your children.
Yeah.
You need to take care of your children.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, how do I take care of them with still going to school?
Right. Right.
And not having a car to get to a job, or not even being old enough for a certain job to be able to do that. So that's what led me into hustling on the streets.
And that's one of the things that we don't talk about is for those children that do get pregnant in high school, we have to start embracing them, even if we agree or don't agree with the things that they're doing. We have to start guiding them more and giving them other alternatives. Like you said, you didn't know what to do.
Mm-mm.
You didn't know what your options were.
Right.
You just simply didn't know. So you did what you had to do because you didn't know and because you didn't have that guidance there to show you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I see a lot of nonprofits now, and I'm so amazed, and I thank God for it. I see a lot of nonprofits now that are servicing young children, young girls that are getting pregnant, that don't have anywhere to turn, that don't know what to do, because people are telling them, well, you're pregnant, so your life is over.
Yes.
It's like, who wants to hear that?
Yes.
I mean, we all fall short of we all fall short. So we can't just throw people away whenever we feel like they're not doing something that's following the path that we feel they need to be on. Life is not cookie cutter like that.
Right.
There's going to be some times that we get out of line with what people think we should do.
Right.
So we have to have the resources there for them so that they don't fall into that lifestyle.
Right. Right.
But
right.
I applaud you for doing what you had to do because you have children.
Yes.
So what else were you going to do?
Right.
Yeah. So once you started doing that, then you kind of got into the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
What were some things that you learned that you felt like were lessons that you could take with you in the lifestyle? Because not all bad is bad to me.
Oh yeah, you still got to consider it all joy.
You got to count it all joy.
You got to count it all joy because He's still gonna work
He's
through,
that's
right?
That's right.
And so, believe it or not, it taught me about sales.
That's what I'm saying.
It taught me about sales. It taught me about product performance.
Yeah.
It taught me, and I know this sounds a little,
like you said, all things work together.
All things work together. So
listen.
It did. It taught me about product performance. It taught me about customer satisfaction, customer service.
Yep.
And I know it sounds terrible to use that with illegal substances, right?
Absolutely.
But it did.
Yeah.
It did. Now, it also taught me about profit.
Mm-hmm.
Profit loss.
Mm-hmm.
Your margins. It taught me about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I say not all bad comes from bad. There are some good things and lessons learned that you can learn from that.
Absolutely.
And like you said, then when God touched your life and then he transformed you into this whole other industry that you got into, then it's like you already had the foundational things that you needed.
I did.
In order to get to that next step. So again, no test, no testimony.
True.
And without going through that phase, you wouldn't have learned those things.
True.
So you're going through the lifestyle, you're learning all of those things that you just discussed. And then tell me about coming out of the lifestyle. Tell me about that transitional phase of what that was like for you. Was it scary getting out because you kind of were like, the money is fast and I know that I'm going to have to scale back a little bit? Was it that you felt like you were going to lose friends? Like, what was that transitional period?
So the transitional from me going from the streets was I now went into the strip industry because on the streets it got really dangerous. I was looking at facing at a minimum 14 years.
Okay, wow.
For a situation, and God brought me out of that, with no time. So
wow.
I was accustomed to the fast money. I was accustomed to the nighttime lifestyle. So then that's what got me into dancing. I never looked at dancing as something that I'm supposed to do because I'm a thinker. And most women in that industry don't really think. They just use their body and just kind of like see what they can get from that. So my transition from being 10 years as a dancer and coming out of that was when God gave me a vision. And I believe that's the vision I shared at the first annual brunch. Was God showing me where I was, and I was up, like I wasn't dreaming, right? I normally have my messages from the Lord when I'm asleep, right, through a dream, but I'm up. I'm in the actual club with a full strip attire on, and the Lord changed my vision and showed me that I am truly in a devil's playpen, and that if I don't leave, that I will be chained to this lifestyle.
Right.
So the transition of me leaving that and starting a new, becoming a new creature. It's for me, it was embarrassing. It was a humiliation walk that I had no choice but to take. And it wasn't like I could take any shortcuts with that. I had to take the long way home is what I like to say. Because you going from making $4,000, $3,000 to $4,000 whenever you step into a building to now being humble to ask somebody, can you do their hair for $60? You have to understand the chastisement, the jokes, the memes that, especially when you're considered an it girl, right? But I trusted the Lord. And not in only what he was going to bring me to, but more so like him just showing me like, I love you so much to show you where you are. Obviously, I felt like he had something better for me if he was to show me while I'm up. Because when I have these conversations with people, I notice some of them are like, you had a vision? You had a vision? So it lets me know how special I am because they're like, I never had a vision from the Lord, you know? And I'm like, no, I really, real life had a vision while I'm up in a strip attire. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to trust in the Lord that he's going to bring me somewhere. And shout out to David Berkeley, because he was the one that first of all let me know that Jesus was the homie. I can call on Jesus like he's my homeboy, and two, he was the one that did a sermon the day I chose to go to church after I completely sold everything that I had that I got from stripping. So once I sold everything that I had because I was low on funds, I completely sold everything. Now I'm bare. I'm toilet, right? I went to church. I was compelled to go to church, right? And so I went to Fellowship of Faith. And the sermon that David preached that day was, God makes way for the gifts that he has given us, right? So we will soar with the gifts that we have. And so I went home that day and I pondered on that. I was like, Lord, what do I have that you naturally gave me that I can truly just take care of my children with, right? Because that was always my concern, my children. And so it was like hair. It's like if hair could be like labeled across, it was literally like that, like hair. A highlight, like, like a headline. It was like hair.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, we're going to use what I have, my natural ability to do hair.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get this vision, you go to church, and like you said, I'm like you. When I get home from church, I ponder a little bit. I'm like, God, what are you saying to me specifically? Like, I take the message and I take it with me. And yes, shout out to David, because I love preachers and ministers that break the word down to where you can understand it.
Yep.
It's not all these big eloquent words. It's like they break it down to like modern day sometimes, to where it's like, oh, I can see that. And it hits home a little bit more.
Yeah.
To where when you get home, you are sitting there thinking like, God, that was a good message.
Yeah.
Now, what are you saying to me?
What are you saying?
How can I apply that to my life and take it with me going forward?
Yeah.
I'm that girl too. So yeah, shout out to David, because he is an amazing preacher and he breaks that word down bit by bit.
Yes.
And I mean, a toddler can understand his messages.
Yes.
Honestly.
Agreed.
A toddler can. So kudos to you for even going to church and following that spirit and that vision that you had, and for heeding to the word.
Yes.
Because sometimes we hear God speaking, but we're not going to make a move because, sometimes we're a little hard-headed.
Yeah.
We're a little hard-headed. We got to bump that head a little bit. Yeah, we got to bump that head a little bit before we be like, okay, God, I surrender.
Yeah.
I hear you talking. I know what you're telling me to do. So kudos to you. So hair, you saw hair. So what do you do next? You go and start to get clients, like you say, you start calling people, any and everybody that will sit in your chair, or you'll go to them.
Yeah. So one thing about me being an entertainer was my hair was always laid. Before laid was a word to say when it came to hair, everybody would always say, girl, while you on stage, I just couldn't help but just look at your hair. Your hair was always good. Yeah. But one thing I knew was, because it's an industry that is a competition, I can't have you looking like me. So I wasn't doing nobody's hair. So now that I'm out the industry, I went back to that industry and was like, hey, I'll do y'all hair now.
Yeah.
So it was easier for me to like pull in the clients, get on social media and say, okay, I'm doing hair now. Yeah. And I knew I was smart enough to say, okay, well, I can't just be trying to charge these outrageous prices, because people know me from being on the pole, not behind a chair.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, it had to be a humbling one, to where I'm like, okay, I'm willing to do a $200 hairstyle for $60. The thing is, I just needed you to get in my chair and be my walking advertisement, so that I could charge $200.
Yeah. Yeah. So strategic thinking.
Yeah.
That you're a thought leader.
Yeah.
So that's what I like too. That you asking me what I saw in you.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, sometimes what's understood don't have to be explained. Like some of the things that you're talking about are some of the things that I see just from following you. So you were strategically thinking, like, if I can get a couple people in my chair, use them as walking billboards, then for sure somebody's gonna say, who did your hair?
Yep.
And bam, there you go.
Yes.
Send them my number. Yes. Now for them, don't tell them how much, because my hairstylists do this too. Now don't tell nobody how much I charged you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Don't tell nobody how much I charged you. But because to everybody else, it's this. But to you, it's this. So I don't want no discounts, but as you progress in your craft and you get better and better, you start to go up and up in pricing.
Right.
So that makes sense. So now you're doing what? Everybody's hair. Yeah. Now the billboards are out, the walking billboards are out by way of people that you know. Now everybody's calling you. Did you get overwhelmed during that time period where people were calling you?
I only got overwhelmed when I tried to get as much money as I can, because at that time, I didn't realize how to pace myself through an 8-hour work period.
Right.
I still had in a sense, a stripper mentality. So in that, stripper mentality is get as much as you can in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in the outside daytime world.
Sure.
It does not, So that's when I caught mental breakdowns, was because I was trying to fit all these people in my chair throughout a day, every day, burning myself out to get this money. It wasn't until I had to start looking at it like a business versus a hustle. And once I
So
started
that's
treating it like a
good.
business,
Yeah.
it started to operate as a business.
That's right. So that's the difference between, they say, entrepreneur and CEO.
Yes.
So once you actually start looking at processes, procedures, once you start looking at scheduling, once you start moving with strategy,
Oh, yeah.
once you start executing the strategies, exactly. Once you start refining your systems, putting systems in place, like you might have went to online systems instead of phone booking. And like you say, just organizing your business, then you start to realize, okay, well, I take 2 hours on this head, so I don't want nobody sitting here looking at my face wondering when I'm gonna get done, because we do that too. When we have overlapping appointments, we be sitting there like, okay, girl, I gotta go. So that's very smart of you to say, okay, I switched the entrepreneurial mentality to more of like a CEO. I started running my business like an actual CEO.
Absolutely, definitely, because instead I stopped looking at the labor part of it, and I started saying, okay, what do I want to make for my month or my week or my day, right? And then I said, okay, how long do I want to work for this? Because not only am I looking at it like, okay, I'm servicing you, so I'm getting paid, but I still have to also pay myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how much am I willing to pay myself?
Yeah.
So then I realized, it's still never enough for me to say this is what I want to pay myself after taking out, certain things like the expenses and the bills and stuff, right? So so that's when my hair company came into play. I said, I got to figure out how to get this money without working as hard. So that's where the upsell came into.
Good. That is so good. So you started thinking through your business, saying, okay, I know I don't want to work down to the bone.
No more.
And no amount of money is going to supplement what I need.
Right.
However, if I start to do this, then I know that I could get this type of return. And I'm working smarter, not harder.
Yes.
Because that's the goal in business always, is to work smarter, not harder. So that's where your hairline was birthed.
Yes.
Okay. So your Lush hairline. So that's when you started to kind of reach out, and I'm sure test things out, because you only want the best.
Absolutely.
And whatever you're putting forward. So the hairline came.
Yes.
And then now you are servicing your clients, and you're providing the bundles for your clients as well.
Yes.
Okay, and then now you're selling your hair online as well.
Yes.
Okay, so how much success did you see with that? Was it like overnight because people knew that you only wear the best of the best, or how was that?
It could appear overnight because no one ever really sees the background.
Absolutely,
of it, right?
Absolutely.
But it wasn't overnight.
Yeah.
If you want to put everything into play, it was years.
Yeah.
Years of working. Like I said, mental breakdowns was coming into play. I'm not going to front, like I had 2 of those in 1 year, you know? So it seems like it was overnight, but no, it wasn't. It was a lot of groundwork that went behind the scenes. And then it was a lot of things that I was doing unknowingly, but just being guided by spirit to do, not understanding that as I'm going to these places, and I don't mean necessarily actual like buildings, but places in life, right?
Yeah.
That I was dropping seeds off, and they were blooming for when I circled back around to be like, okay, that's why I had to go do that. So I didn't know what I was truly doing when I was doing it. I was just being obedient to my spirit saying, go over here.
Yeah.
Go speak to this person, and I'm not even on the intentions on why I'm being led to just speak to this person, but I am. And then sure enough, it put that person on my radar.
Wow.
So that when I did start promoting, they reached out to me and was like, hey, I remember you from such and such. Like, I see you have your hair. You want to do like promo exchange? And so then that's how that came about. So I can see why people would think that it was overnight, or I already had it going on already. And so I just fell into the hair industry. Nah.
No,
not at all.
No. And what you're saying is true. I think what we have to do is stop selling this overnight sensation mentality, or this, it just came to me. No, like you said, I was sowing seeds for years and years and years.
And didn't know.
Because I think about that, and I just told one of my good friends this morning, I said, when this business was even birthed for me, I didn't know what it was about. I just knew God was telling me to do it. And I didn't know what it was about, and I didn't know how people would receive a 6-figure single mom. I didn't know how people would receive it, and I didn't know the people that I had been sowing seeds with for so many years. And then, like at the first annual Resilient, like you saw, there were so many sponsors of people that reached out.
Yep.
And people that were just like, I see you doing this. I want to support what you're doing. What do you need from me? And like you said, to some people, it may seem overnight, but it's taken so many planting of seeds over the years, and so much networking, and so much just doing right by people, and so much of just being my authentic self and just serving others. I think that's something we miss too.
Yes.
We naturally serve others. And when we naturally serve others, it makes them want to work with us.
Yeah.
So like you said, nothing is an overnight sensation. You got to plant them seeds,
Yep.
and it has to be something to where you don't expect anything in return.
Right.
You just doing it out of the kindness of your heart.
Right.
So I just love that you just said that, because more people need to hear that it's a grind and it's a hustle, but it's also about the treatment of people.
Absolutely.
Because people won't remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel.
Agreed.
Always remember how you made them feel. So that's really good. So that's who I know you to be too, is someone that gives back as well.
Yes.
So that's just so amazing. So you have your hairline, and then what next?
I have my hairline, and then I opened up a salon. Now, was a salon in my, like, did I see myself opening up a salon? Absolutely not. I was working at a salon at the time.
Okay.
And the owner was never there. And so there were things that needed to be operated a certain way that people would come in. And like I said, I'm grinding. I'm always there. So they're thinking that it's my storefront. And so whenever she's there, they're like, can I speak to the owner? And she's like, I am the owner.
I am the manager.
Right. And they're like, oh, it's not her. And she's like, no, it's not. They was like, well, can she help me? Because last time I was here.
Yeah.
And so time went on. A situation happened where she actually asked me to come in as a partner. And she was telling me how much the rent and stuff was. Now, let me tell you how God works. God is going to always set you up.
Come on.
So you can't always look at your storms as if it was something to like punish you or destroy you. Sometimes your storms are to fertile the ground so that your flowers can grow. Okay.
That's
so you got to kind of look at it like that too. So she asked me to partner in. And she was like, okay, she was telling me how much the rent was. And so she was like, the rent is, I think she said $750 plus utilities, right? And so I was like, okay. So basically I'm bringing $1,000 to the table, right? And I'm doing this for months. And then finally, one day, the landlord comes, right? And he has keys in his hands. And he was like, I'm trying to see what time you guys are going to leave because I got to lock the building up. I said, lock the building up for what? And he was like, for the rent. And I said, what you mean? The rent's been paid.
Right.
And he said, no, the rent has not been paid. Right. And so I was like, well, how much is the rent? And he said $1,000. And so I was like, oh, she must not have paid her half. And he said, what do you mean half? I said, so the rent must be $2,000. She only owe you $1,000. He said, no, the rent is $1,000. I said, excuse me, say what?
Yeah. So she's been taxing.
So basically, I've been paying the rent anyways. So guess what that did? It set me up to leave to go get my own salon.
Wow.
To pay my own $1,000 that I was accustomed to paying. I'm thinking I'm paying half, something that I would need a partner for. And the Lord was showing me, oh no, babe, I'm already born you to be on your own.
And see, that's another thing. When you try to get over on people, especially people that carry a light and people that are anointed and people that, just have God's spirit all over them, he won't let it last. He'll let it go on for a little bit just to make you think you're getting away with it.
Oh, yeah.
And then before you know it, it'll just blow up in your face.
Yep.
So has she just paid what you were giving her in the first place, he wouldn't have been walking with them keys.
Yep.
You wouldn't have had the opportunity to know that she wasn't, in fact, paying her rent. And nothing against her. It's just a testament of, again, doing right by people.
Yeah.
Doing right by people is so important because it backfires on you every time you try to get over on someone.
Absolutely.
It backfires every time. So you get your own salon and now you're doing hair. Yeah. And that's the product of what we see today is the stylist that we see today. So as you guys see, Toya is not an overnight sensation. It took years. It took work. It took a lot of lessons learned. It took her learning that a business partner was not being as honest with her. And for her branching out and just kind of stepping out on faith and doing what she was naturally good at. I talk about that a lot on this podcast, doing what you're naturally good at.
Yes.
Don't try to, I was having a conversation earlier and this person was asking me like, how do you network so well? And I was saying, I just get in the rooms and attend things that I'm naturally either interested in or naturally good at.
Yep.
Because I don't want nothing from nobody.
Right.
You know, if I'm there, I'm strategically placing myself in a room because of those factors.
Right.
So when you do that, you're walking in your purpose. You don't even have to worry about the hustle and bustle of meeting people that you don't have any common interests with and this and that. You're meeting people that, you know, you're supposed to be connected with.
Yes.
And that's how I feel about it. So now I see that you have a hair bundle reviver.
Yes.
That is in Walmart and that's in beauty supplies. So tell us a little bit about how that opportunity came about for you.
Okay, so Bundle Reviver is on Walmart online.
Okay.
But it's in beauty supply stores.
Okay.
But in Jesus' name, I received that it's going to be in Walmart.
It will.
Okay.
It will.
So how I came about with Bundle Reviver is I noticed how much money my clients were spending with me, right?
Okay.
And I know some people would look at that and say, well, girl, why would you give them a solution to that problem? Because it's not a problem for you because you're making money.
Yeah.
But I had to look at it like this. If my clients don't have no money,
yeah,
how are they going to be able to pay me?
That's right.
And a few incidents happened where my clients was like, well, I don't have no money. Can you do this for this? Can you,
Yeah.
And they was like, bargaining, and of course, as a single mom, I was like, okay, let's work this out. I can do this for this or whatever, right? But I was like, what is the root cause of this?
Yeah.
They're spending money on extensions that were promoted to last them years. And they're finding themselves like, okay, it's not lasting as long as they said it's supposed to last. So what's going on? So I ended up reaching out to my manufacturer and I'm asking him, how are they actually creating the hair?
Yeah.
And at that time, do you remember how people used to say hair had a smell?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason why hair used to have a smell is because it was dipped in a certain chemical to make it soft and last only for a short amount of time because that manufacturer needs you to be able to come back to them.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So I asked those questions. These are the questions that I'm asking. And of course, some are hesitant. So you gotta ask multiple people, but you gotta find different ways in asking it so you can get your answer.
Yes.
So basically that's what I came up with. The hair has this silicone on it that has a smell, almost like a perm kind of stinky stench, so that the hair can last for only a certain amount of time. So I said, okay, I need to find the ingredients of that to put in a formula that allows it every time you use your hair, you wash your hair, you get back that same bounce. You get back that same renewal. And so that's where Bundle Reviver came into play because I was like, I want to be able to save my clients money.
Yeah.
I know people think that it's about the money. Like, well, you're laboring, you're doing hair, you want the money. True, right? But at the same time, if I see a problem with another woman like myself, I don't want to be the one to be saying I'm a taker. I want to also help the situation.
That's right.
So I looked at it like this. If you purchase hair from me, you get insurance. Versus just like when you buy a car, you get insurance for your car. You get your home, you get insurance for your home. Yeah. These are investments. If you're spending hundreds of dollars on hair extensions, that is an investment. Why not insure it?
Yeah.
So that allowed me to build my empire because now I cornered everything. I'm a hairstylist, hair salon owner, hair company owner. Now I have a product line that actually complements the investment that you purchase.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you say investment because hair is expensive.
It's an investment.
It is expensive.
It's no longer just like what's it called? Like a beauty pamper day kind of thing. No. It's truly an investment.
Yes. My daughter loves bundles. Shout out to my daughter, Chandler. She loves bundles. So, yes, I know all about it. She is a bundle queen. She does not play about her bundles. But I think that's good that as you were growing in your business, you started to find solutions.
Yes.
For everything that you could run into,
Absolutely.
you started to find solutions. And I will say that one thing I was proud to see this year was that you were a part of the Bun B takeover.
Oh,
so I saw your hair make an appearance at the 2024 rodeo this year for the Bun B takeover. So I saw that Eve was not only wearing your hair, but you were her hairstylist as well.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience.
So shout out to Queenie, Bun B's wife. She was the one that plugged me in on that.
Nice.
I saw when Bun posted that he was going to bring Eve to Houston. And I literally I stopped what I was doing. I was like, OMG, EVE. Like, I got to get my tickets right now because growing up, I was a baby of Little Kim, Lauryn Hill, Eve. So those were and Mary J. Blige. Like, if you want to think of who I was growing up, they made me. Right? Yeah. And so when Bun posted that, Queenie said she didn't even see that post. Queenie said that she inserted me in on Eve needing her hair done because Eve reached out to her and was like, she needs her hair done, was because when Queenie had came to my salon prior to get her hair done, I told her I want to be able to compensate her back for the things that she done for me in my earlier days when I was a stripper. Wow. Because Queenie and Bun never treated me like I was a stripper. They never treated me like I was less than. If anything, they made me feel like I had like the best thing going on. Like, you know, like they made me feel seen. Yeah. You know, because coming from that industry, people do treat you like as like if you're a sex object or you don't have no morals, no values, which was never the case for me. I was always very spiritual. I just felt like I was going through my valley at that time, you know? Yeah. So they never treated me no type of way. And they always invited me over, you know, to eat, I was spending holidays with them at some time, you know, like they treated me really, really good. Yeah. And so, it circled back around for when she came to my salon. I was like, I just want to compensate you because I want you to know you made me feel like a person. Wow. In an industry that just doesn't make us feel good at all. Yeah. And treats us terrible. Yeah. You know, and I was like, how can I compensate you? I was like, I just want to do your hair. Like, this is just my thank you to you. And she started getting emotional. I was like, please don't cry up in this shop. You know, I just want to give you your flowers, you know, because you really looked out for me growing up. And so, she, like I said, she didn't even see my post from when I posted underneath Bun, a comment underneath the Bun's post about, you know, Eve coming. So she was like, hey, what are you doing? It was 8:00 in the morning. I'm dropping my daughter off to school. And she was like, you want to do Eve hair? Break? You know, I got cars behind me. I just dropped Jada off, right? And I'm like, what did you just say? Who did you just say? And she said, Eve. And I said, all right, Toy, this is real. Like, this is happening, right? Like, this is happening. Wow. And my oldest daughter was in the car and she was like, Mom, you're that girl. You've been that girl. Why you acting brand new? Why you? Yes. And I said, Lamaya, do you know what it's like to do somebody that you grew up and you was just like you never felt like you could like touch stars. Wow. And I don't mean people, stars. I mean like stars, things that feel like they're so far within your reach, like you feel like you can never do it. I said, this is happening. She was like, Mom, hey, tell her yes. It doesn't matter the day or the time. Wow. Because I even forgot to respond to her to tell her I can do it. Right? She's like, so I'm just stuck on this is happening. Wow. Like, we do serve a good God. Yeah, we do. I mean? Yeah, we do. I'm like, this is happening. So yeah, like when she asked me to do it and I did it. And I actually have a video of me talking to myself in the car. I may post that one day. I'm not sure. You should. I literally I wanted to feel myself at that moment of like, trust God. Yeah. And just keep working towards things. And that's what my video was about. It was just more so like me just seeing myself in the moment of like, all things are possible. Mm-hmm. Right? That's and right. I don't care what it looks like for you at that time in that season. All things are possible because be reminded just before that, I got robbed 3 times in 30 days. Wow. And they took all my inventory. Wow. They took all of my blonde curly hair, which is very rare to get. But it wasn't until early that March that I was cleaning out the cabinet in the salon. And that curly hair that Eve wore, I had just enough bundles for her when they called and was like, she wants curly blonde hair. Oh my gosh. I'm getting chills right now just talking about how how orchestrated our God is. We just truly just have to stay faithful in him, you know? So when that came, like I said, like, I don't idolize man, you know,
No, of course
but I was just like, the doors are
yeah, the
open, Toya.
opportunity.
It's happening, Toya,
Yeah.
you know, and this is where you don't forget to still serve your God in the way you've been serving him, right? Like as if things are still hard, you still serve like that. And
Sure.
so that's what I reminded myself to do. Like, okay, Toy, you still give your thanks, still let him know all the glory still belongs to him, you know. And so that's how I was moving and operating with that opportunity.
Wow. When
And
I saw that,
crying for
I
sure.
know when I saw that, I was smiling so big at home. I was like, man, if anybody deserves this opportunity,
I
Toya
heard a lot
deserves
of
this
people say that same
opportunity.
statement.
Like,
Yes.
it's just the fact that, and we talked about this a little bit off camera, it's just the fact that you have worked so hard to change your life.
Yes.
You have worked so hard to be your best brand.
Yes.
You have worked so hard to master your craft. You have worked so hard to be the best mom that you can be. You have worked so hard to serve others. You have worked so hard, ... I could keep going for literally the rest of the day.
Yeah, girl, you get me emotional
You
over
have
here.
worked so hard to do all the things that I just named and some. Like I said, I could go on for the rest of the day. So if nobody deserved that opportunity, you did. And I feel that God has a way also of showing us that he sees us and that, you know, we can do all the work that nobody else sees, but God sees because he's with us every day. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere at the same time.
Yes.
So he sees everything that we're doing to work on ourselves.
Yes.
And to be the best that we can be.
Yes.
And so when I saw that, I was smiling so big, like never. I was at the concert, but I was smiling so big when you posted it because I was like, man, Toya deserves this opportunity.
Thank you.
And I'm just so glad because God will make it to where people are mentioning your names in rooms that you don't even know about.
Absolutely.
And that's his way of showing us that he sees us.
Yes.
And he sees us trying, and he knows that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. So
absolutely.
Kudos to you. Well, listen, Toya got to get out of here because I could talk to Toya all day and night. But I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Toya had an analogy on her page, and I told her before we started shooting, Toya has changed her life, completely changed her life. And Toya has turned into such a great person. She was a great person before, but she is just diving deep into God's word, and she is letting God use her in so many ways. And she has this analogy on her page where she says every iPhone needs an update. And I thought about that when I saw that, and I told her before we started shooting, sometimes people like the iPhone updates and sometimes they don't. But the iPhone updates are to make our phones better. So I want to encourage you that as I see you posting things and as I see you taking that deep dive and whatever God is placing on your heart, whether it be through vision, whether it be through reading his word, I want to encourage you that sometimes people going to like the iPhone upgrade and sometimes they're not.
Right.
But just keep walking in who you are, keep believing in who you are, keep being a great mom to your children, and keep being a great grandma to your grandbaby.
Thank you.
And
Crystal.
we are so proud of you, and we see you, we see you. So I just want to encourage you with that and leave you with that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So this episode is being sponsored by the Creators Guild Studio. The Creators Guild Studio also supports the Six Figure Single Mom Company. So they are sponsoring our upcoming Resilient Parents Brunch, which is on September the 21st. This year, our theme is the futuristic mom. So moms utilizing new technologies in business, career, and in their families. So Toya, I want you to tell them a little bit, give them like a 30-second promo for the Resilient Parents Brunch and what it did for you.
Okay, you guys. So the Resilient Parent Brunch basically put me in a room with women that I didn't even know. For one, shout out to Sherry Green.
Sherry Green.
Man, like it put me into a room with women that I did not know was going to be able to help me with my business after the fact. It put me with women that not only business, but spiritual women too. Sandra?
Yes,
Sandy?
Sister Sandy.
Sister Sandy. Yep. Oh my goodness. Months after meeting her, she was praying for me. We was talking, and it just really put me in a community of women that understood what was going on and women that I can connect with and work and network with and grow my brand and grow my business. But also it showed me a lot about myself because that was the first one that I actually ever got onto a platform and just like started speaking and felt okay. Like I felt comfortable speaking and just allowing myself to just be used as a vessel at that time. So, and that's what I have pinned on my page. So I want to encourage you guys to check it out, be in the atmosphere and be amongst women that are truly designed to be a part of your journey, because you don't know who it is. You don't know who's God going to put there, but I promise you, you're going to be in a room with one of your destiny helpers.
Yes. Thank you, Toria. It is so amazing to be around women who are like-minded individuals and women who you can network with and women who you could just have a great time with. Listen to some stories about how they've overcome and how they have shown that resilience throughout their lives. So I always end my episodes with this. Change starts with you. Right. So we have to be the change that we want to see in the world and just treat everybody right. So with that being said, if you guys have enjoyed this episode, I want you to like the episode. I want you to comment. I want you to share the episode with anyone that you may know. I'm on Instagram at the Six Figure Single Mom. Come and check us out. And again, September the 21st, we are having our 3rd annual Resilient Parents Brunch at 1:00. So with that being said, Toya, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we're out. Bye.